I don't know. It just feels a little gross. Like, I'm not sure, I get that they were your extra sheets, but I don't really want to sleep in your extra sheets, especially if you're spending the money that you would be spending at a hotel.
I know there's been some talk on YouTube and probably also out there on the podcast that, real people, that this isn't true, this isn't real, this can't happen. It's just some kind of propaganda, that we're all just trying to sell. So I invited Susie Kuc on today. And actually, Cassie Parks, who you met about a month ago, she recommended that I talk to Susie. And I'm really glad that she came on today because I think she's going to help you to kind of see how, she maybe started off where you did and ended up really seeing the benefits. So Susie, did you start off where people did like saying, well, I know your husband did, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We started back, we bought this house in 2017. So I probably got the idea in 2016 from some sort of blog post or something I was reading. And certainly like, I was like, could we actually have an Airbnb suite? And would it be worth it? I think is the, like, am I going to go through this whole process and would it be worth it? And my husband was like, we can throw something together if you want to, but, like, well, let's just throw it up and see how it does. So we were definitely skeptical. We didn't end up just throwing it up. We ended up actually investing some money into it and really creating a business out of it that has just like taken us, we'll talk more about that, but it's really, in 4 or 5 years, it's really taken us, very, very far. So,
well, it's transformational, right? I mean, really, I don't think that's too strong of a word to use.
Absolutely. Once you start pulling in some extra income, people talk about the side hustle and, passive income. And yes, that's definitely a huge piece of it. But when you treat it like a business, even though it's a side hustle, when you start treating it like a business, it really is, it's unbelievable what you can create out of it and just kind of continue to reinvest and create even more and more. And that's kind of where we are right now.
Yeah. And that is key. Like you say, treating it like a business so that you're not just saying, oh, great, I'm getting all this extra money. Let's just go on vacation, right? At least for the beginning, put some of that money back in so that you're really, bringing up your game and making it even more and more profitable.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I can attest to that every single year we've done, we went from, I want to say the first year, like pulling in maybe 6,000. The second year it was like 12. And then when we went up to 18 and now, we're through the roof. So we're renting out the full house now, not just a suite, but it's just gone, gangbuster. So
awesome. So how did you first get started? So your pending baby caused you to need to buy a bigger house, right? So that's how that started the whole evolution.
Absolutely. We had like an 800 square foot house, and just like two bedrooms, one bathroom, tiny little living room kind of situation. And we decided to buy something larger. And we ended up in this, larger it's huge, historic house is like 3,200 square feet or something like that, so there was some shock there. But in the back of my head was always this idea that, okay, well, we're going to get this big house, but maybe we can have, a suite off of it that's on Airbnb and we can make some money off of it. And that's kind of where it started. And my husband was like, and I ended up investing in like remodeling the bathroom, getting it all set up, the right linens that I think people would want and that type of situation. And we opened it up and it booked like that. We did start really low. That was like our strategy, was to kind of start really low. We really were kind of fishing in the dark though. We didn't really know like what, was that a good strategy or were we kind of setting ourselves up for failure? And it did actually end up working out. There's a possibility we lost money doing it that way, but it did end up working out where, we started really low and the folks who came in, they were like, this is amazing. You're supposed to be charging more than this, right? Like for what we're getting, we're like, yeah, obviously we want a great review from you, and so we ended up getting Superhost, pretty much right away. And I think that's probably for all of us who start out, we're not sure what we're doing and we're not sure if it's going to work. And the price point can be something that's really scary. You don't want to price it so low. You're worried about the type of people who are going to show up. This is a whole new lifestyle, running this business out of your home. And I have to say that people will surprise you. They are generally wonderful. And if you meet them with that, you're probably going to receive that type of thing. So we started out lower on our price point, and that really did help us. And we got over we all have our little things. I think one of the things my husband had was he didn't want to share a washer and a dryer. Like if someone wanted to use our washer and dryer, he didn't want to share it. And didn't want to wash the sheets in the same, and one stay, he's like, yeah, that's not a thing. That's not a thing. It's just normal people. And, we have sanitizer and that's not, so you have these little hiccups in your head before you start, you're cause you just don't know what anything looks like. But it changes really, really quickly.
Yeah. Well, and I want to go back to what you were saying before about pricing, because that is a big concern. But I think in the beginning, especially if you're using Airbnb or anything where you have to get reviews, the most important thing is to get good reviews. And the easiest way to do that is to under promise and over deliver, right? So if they're thinking, oh, they're going to have a specific type of stay because of the lower price, and then they just, you blow them out of the water with how fantastic it is, they leave a glowing review, and then that just starts a great thing, because that's the hardest in the beginning. You're not showing up that high because, right, you don't have any reviews. So Airbnb's like, this is untested, so getting yourself to be found is definitely, one of your challenges, and you did it perfectly by just, starting in with a lower price.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reviews, they mean the most. I mean, the whole platform is based off of that, right? You don't book, think of it as the guest, you don't book an Airbnb without looking at the reviews. And especially if it's new and you see a negative review new, you're like, okay, I'll move on to the next one,
Yeah, definitely. And you don't even if you don't want to read the actual reviews, you're going to be looking at the star rating. So did you have any of your own sort of maybe fears or trepidations where you're just am I going to really like this? I just went all in and cashed in my 401k and now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my biggest fear was just that it wouldn't make the money back. I obviously if you cash in a 401k, it was a small 401k for my former job, but you cash in a 401k, you lose money doing that. So right here, I'm trying to make an investment to make more money, but I've already lost money before I've even started. And so there definitely was some fear of that I had to just kind of go all in on. And actually my husband helped me with that. At one point I was like, well, I'm talking about it. I'm like, if it works. And he's like, we're done with if it works. Yeah. We already invested money in it. So we're going to figure out, it's going to work. It just might not work exactly the way we thought. And, to have made back, I want to say the initial investment was $6,000. And so that first year we made back, I mean, that's unheard of, right? In a business, you don't usually make back all of your money within the first year.
Yeah.
So exactly. Right there, that was like, this is working and I'm going to take that momentum. We took a lot of that money and put it back into the suite and ended up putting in a kitchenette. So we could kind of increase that price there and still stay. We were booked all the time, still are. And I think that's because we've always kept the price point a little bit lower. And we did that so that we were booked a lot, because then it's just part of your life. You don't just have someone coming, for a couple of days once a month. There's someone coming all the time. And this is a part of your routine. It's a part of the way you function in life.
So you're booked a lot, but are you in an area that's kind of a very popular vacation-y kind of area where you would expect to be always, in big demand?
We do have a unique situation here where we have 5 colleges near us. So we are booked a lot because of that. But I will say that even obviously we all went through a pandemic and we were still booked and we still doubled our income. So, we do have the 5 colleges. It is a really nice area. It was Western Massachusetts, so there's lots to do here, hiking, kayaking, that type of thing in the summer. University will have, lacrosse meets and things like that. So we certainly are in a nice area. I think now with the full house being booked, the other thing that we have is that we've really increased the amount of beds we have. We don't have beds shoved everywhere. There's not like a bed in the kitchen, but but we have, we were very strategic about making sure that we had more beds than most of the houses our size on Airbnb. And that has seemed, we get family reunions in here. We get lots of, people who are like, oh yeah, we can't find an Airbnb with this, with this many beds at a reasonable price point.
So we already jumped to like you're written out the whole house. So let's go back through your evolution.
Yeah.
You started off with this and upstairs, do they have access to your house since there was no kitchenette there?
They did not. We just rented it as, bedroom, bathroom. And we put like a little fridge in it and microwave, that type of thing. Cause like I said, we had that like office space, this little space. And then we reinvested in a kitchenette. So some cabinets, an apartment sized fridge. And we had to have an electrician come, and figure that kind of thing out, had to actually invest in this so that there wasn't problems with that. And then we were able to increase our price, but we still didn't increase our price. Like I want to say that first year we were at like $40 a night. Like it was really low.
Wow. Yeah, that is really low. And you still made $6,000. That's pretty incredible.
We booked all the time. Yeah, absolutely. So, and we also took really nice photos. And that's a big piece of it. You can't do that. You need help from someone. You've got to pay for that. But it's amazing to have bright, and then your photos need to translate for what's really there. And you can't just have, the decor can't change completely or something like that. And people are like, this doesn't feel like what I booked.
Where's the place I saw the pictures of?
Yeah. And so that was a big one, was keeping those photos up to date, because we were reinvesting and we were changing things, and that can confuse folks a lot. So yeah, we just kind of worked on reinvesting it, went up to, I want to say $95 a night, and that's with a kitchenette. That's still
very cheap, really affordable. Yeah.
So and then this year, like if we book the suite, it's a little bit higher. This, I want to say I'm anywhere between 150 to, on a Saturday night, $250. So just to give people some ideas of what, can happen here. We do have it professionally cleaned. So that cost, we have a cleaner, we know what that cost is, and we just transfer that over to the guests. This is what the cost is, and let them know that it's professionally cleaned. So that was a big piece too. We started out, I cleaned it for a while, and that really helped me like understand the entire process and what the worth of my suite was and what, I was doing. But it didn't take long to be like, okay, we're booked so much. I'm not cleaning this,
right.
4 times a week kind of thing.
No.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, and cleanliness is everything. I mean, that is something, especially since the pandemic, that people are so focused on cleanliness that it's just, obviously it's important anyway, because you don't want to be grossed out that someone else was there and that's their hair, you know what I mean? That's still in the tub, right? But also, especially since the pandemic, people are like very, very focused on cleanliness. So it's important, really important to have a great cleaner.
Mm-hmm. And absolutely the easiest way for you to overserve, right? If we have in our listing, we have allergy covers for our beds and allergy covers for our pillows, and everything gets washed, like including the comforter. This is above and beyond what a hotel's ever going to give you, what you're ever going to get. And so that's a way to overserve right there, where, when you can feel comfortable going in to, someone else's house. So definitely. Yeah.
Definitely. Absolutely. So that was the suite. And then what was your next step when you said, okay, we've got this now up and running, we want to reinvest? What was your next step?
We actually started investing in campers after that. So they started, of course, just as, hey, we would like to have a camper. We like to, go camping, and we're over tent camping because we have 2 little kids, and that's impossible. I think we did that once with my daughter at 18 months in like August, in Maine. Like it was like we're done,
Yeah.
until we can afford a camper. So my husband went out and got this great little camper that could be towed by a lot of different vehicles. A mid-sized vehicle could even tow this with the right equipment. And we started renting it out also, so it was this kind of, business deal. And we invested some of the money into that. We financed that. And within the first year, so that was 2019. And within that first summer, we had paid the loan, we had paid our monthly loan amount plus some. So we were kind of being paid to go on vacation with our campers.
So did people stay like in your driveway, or did you let them take it?
We let them take it, or we even delivered it for them.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Okay, so we would, within a certain radius, we went ahead and there's a couple of different services that allow the campers to be rented out. And it is a little different. Their fees and the insurance is different because it's a vehicle. So we had to sort of maneuver that. And that took like quite a bit, of kind of falling on our faces a little bit, we lost some money there too, delivery costs and like all, figuring out all of this, not having another set of eyes on it to help us see it from a different perspective. So, so that took a little bit. That was 2019, and it actually got booked fall of 2019 for 2020. It got booked all summer. So my husband, or maybe I might have the dates wrong, but so my husband actually went out and got and financed another camper for us.
We can't go camping. This isn't working.
Yeah. So that came in, and we rented that as well, and it went really well. We even helped some friends, do the same thing with theirs. So kind of this, continually reinvesting, and that brought us back to the house. And this summer, we opened up in May for graduation season was the opening of the house, and we worked for 6 months before that. All the little things that you don't finish in your house that
Yeah, right. I know. Sometimes it's nice to have that deadline and that impetus to say like, oh yeah, well,
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I think we put up I put up 3D renderings because I'm able to do that. And and then I'm like, it's got to look like this. Because some people are booking and they can't tell that it's a 3D rendering. We had a few people who were like, are these real photos? And I was like, yeah. I promise they are not, but I am a designer and I can do this. Yeah, I can show you the photo right now. It's being worked on. And so, yeah, that deadline really, we were like from January to May, in the evening, we're working on stuff. I'm painting, at night and kind of getting it all done. And then we were able to open up in May, and we live in one of our campers now. So we live in one of our campers from May till we'll be in there until October. I mean, like, honestly, we have bookings past October and we are not sure what we're going to do yet. It was too much money to pass up. And we were like, okay, we'll figure it out. Like we'll go stay with my mother-in-law or something. Whatever. But, just well worth it, kind of reinvesting. And when you think about it, it's like, wow, that happened really fast. Like, all of a sudden we were renting a suite and now we have this entire lifestyle that's completely different from just a few years ago. And so it's been really great.
So are you living in your camper, like at a campsite or in the driveway? Like, so you're basically on vacation all summer long. Yeah.
Yeah. We come back and, when the cleaners come and then I do some, maintenance and, do some things with that. And we come back and then I go back to my campground, and there's a little creek there, and my kids are at summer camp all summer long. And it's just been fantastic. Like, absolutely everything we could have dreamed of.
Awesome. And that's, I guess, a good question. When you first started on this journey, did you ever imagine that you would be where you are now?
No. No. I mean, you don't know where it's going to take you unless you, try. I think I figured we'd have some extra income, and now the house is a full income on its own. just like that. Obviously our expenses are a little bit higher because we have we have the camper situation and we have rent there and all of that, but still we're able to live this lifestyle that, I mean, from this came, we would like to take the kids and go on the road for a couple of years in a few years. And that would have never been, even a thought that we could make that happen. And so it's just been wonderful.
Amazing. That's so fantastic. Is there anything that you wish you maybe would have done differently, or, anything that you think, oh gosh, if we would have known this before, or, anything you could give or advice for people who might be sort of thinking of dipping their own toes in the water?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably three things would be: one, you're going to have objections, like you're going to be worried about certain things. And, everybody would, like, you're not, everybody would be worried about those. Just go ahead and try. Two would be, if you don't, if you don't have a design bone in your body, you're probably going to need to hire someone who can help you with that. It doesn't have to cost a ton of money, but you need to invest in, people want to stay in places that feel pulled together. And I think, honestly, although it went really fast, we fell on our faces quite a lot. It would have been nice to like have someone who, like some sort of person who knew more about it, who could help us maneuver and sort of see, because when you're in it, you can't really see, like, okay, so I'm shooting in the dark with my pricing, but I don't have any experience with this and I don't know anybody else who, like, am I going to win or am I going to lose doing this? And so it probably would have been, hindsight with all the money we invested into it, it probably would have been nice to have, someone who could help us see different alternatives to being able to, who knows, maybe that first year we could have made more money, seeing as though during the pandemic we made twice as much still. So, we probably lost quite a bit that first year. I wouldn't change it, but I would probably hire someone if I could. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's actually exactly, I mean, I didn't know you then, but that's one of the things that I do is help people when they're just starting to get their places on Airbnb in the right way, because there are so many things, even within Airbnb. I mean, what should I be doing why am I on page 17? How am I ever going to get a booking? And that's, those kinds of things are actually last week we just talked about photos, because I went on to Airbnb and I looked for the properties that were available starting tomorrow. You know what I mean? And I said, why are these not rented? And, it was pretty obvious for most of them. Either they were like really hotel rooms, and they put them out there as if they're apartments, and then it's like, well, they have 150. So obviously they're not going to rent them all. But a lot of them, the pictures were just awful.
Yeah.
Really awful.
That thrown together,
Yeah.
that like that my husband wanted to do,
Right.
like, just throw it
Thank
together,
goodness you have that interior design bone. So you're like, no, there'll be no throwing it together.
Well, it's like, have you ever been to an Airbnb where, like the sheets are like blue or something and you're like, I don't know, it just feels a little gross. Like, I'm not sure, I get that they were your extra sheets, but I don't really want to sleep in your extra sheets. I want to feel like especially if you're spending the money that you would be spending at a hotel.
Exactly. You want it to be clean and nice and new. And, and the picture should definitely represent that for sure. It's great that you had that instinct to take either great pictures or professional pictures. If you can't yourself take great pictures with a flash, I even see, this is so awful. I'm a real estate agent. I see other real estate agents taking pictures of places they're trying to sell and just taking like snaps with their phone. You're just like, really?
Why are you doing that?
You want me to pay $750,000 for this place? And and it looks a little gray and dingy. And, I mean, they just don't, the value of professional photos can't be overstated.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even videos, like if you have an interesting place where, it's just not going to be interpreted through photos, well, a video or a layout. We have layouts on ours because I'm capable of doing that. But any designer could help with that, for a fee. You can get some sort of layout. Even a lot of contractors can help you with something like that. So
yeah, a lot of major cities have Viz Home. It's Viz, VIZ or VIS. I think it's VIZ-home. And they'll do, I mean, they've done stuff for me. They take fantastic photos and do a floor plan, and it's like $200. So it's 100% worth the investment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Susie, anything you wish I would have asked you? Anything you want to like share to people who are just kind of thinking about this journey?
I would say go for it, try it. Yeah, you can do it, and invest a little bit into it, and treat it like a business, and see where you can go. There's lots. Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us.